It's no exaggeration to say that Dragon Ball's son Goku is one of the most recognizable and beloved fictional characters on the planet. From his introduction in the first chapter of the Dragon Ball manga in 1985 to this very day, Goku has entertained and inspired a countless number of people. Whether he's in an anime, game, or in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, it seems like just about everyone knows who the character is. That's why it's kind of strange that Goku is such a misunderstood character. For a variety of reasons that range from the writing in Dragon Ball itself to industry practices in the West, people have a lot of different ideas of who Goku is as a character. This video will take a look at these various misunderstandings of Goku, describe how they came about, and offer a reading of the character that's a little more in line with some of the source material. Grab your power pole and hop on your flying Nimbus, because we're about to rock the dragon in this breakdown of Dragon Ball's Son Goku, or Kakarot if you want to get into semantics. A common misreading of Goku is that he's basically a superhero. He's the anime equivalent of Superman and fights for justice and to protect Earth and his loved ones. He's a bastion of moral virtue and someone that we should all aspire to be like. Goku isn't any of these things. In fact, he's pretty selfish and merely acting on his own interests more often than not. Although you shouldn't feel too bad about having this misplaced view of the character, since Goku was made far more virtuous in his first major Western appearance. Localization, the process of translating something like an episode of anime and then recording new voice lines in a language common in a region, has an odd history in the West. While it may seem simple on paper, localization is further complicated by the fact that a lot of Japanese terms don't have a one-to-one translation in English. Also, localized dialogue needs to match the mouth movement on various characters. This process becomes an art form all on its own pretty quickly. Additionally, it was only until fairly recently that localization companies really started to care about preserving the intent and tone of an anime. In fact, early anime localizations would change numerous elements of a series simply because they thought it would make it more appealing to Western audiences. That's why rice balls are called donuts or digitally replaced with sandwiches in some episodes of the Pokemon anime. The first major dub of Dragon Ball Z, known as the Ocean dub or the Saban dub for the studios involved in its production, portrays Goku in a vastly different light, because the companies behind the project thought Goku would be more appealing to kids if he was a one-dimensional hero. On top of toning down the violence in the series and changing Hell to Hiffle, or Home for Infinite Losers, this dub would also have Goku lose a lot of the elements that would make him such an interesting character. This dub removes a lot of Goku's love for fighting and instead makes him a kind of defender of Earth and its inhabitants. No matter how you cut it, it's kind of a bummer that so much of Dragon Ball was changed in its Western debut simply because people thought it'd become more popular. Although this mischaracterization of Goku would endure, Funimation's in-house dub of Dragon Ball Z would become a more faithful adaptation of the series. This version of Dragon Ball Z would see Goku acting quite a bit more selfishly, and have him make a lot more short-sighted decisions. While this would make Goku less of a traditional role model, it would also make him far more in line with the original interpretation of the character. Akira Toriyama, the creator of Dragon Ball and one of the most influential people in manga, never intended for Goku to be a hero. When he created the character, Toriyama felt that there was a stagnation in comic protagonists. Rather than make another hero who always saved the day and embodied moral virtue, he made one that lived selfishly and could appear in a far greater variety of story arcs. Since his initial appearance, Goku does pretty much exactly what he wants to all the time. After training under Master Roshi and losing to his Jackie Chun persona in the 21st World Martial Arts Tournament, Goku becomes more enamored with fighting and dedicates his life to training and taking on stronger opponents. Sure, he helps a lot of people like any decent person would and ends up saving the world quite often, but those are usually just secondary consequences to his actions. More often than not, Goku is just trying to fulfill his desire to battle strong opponents. For instance, Goku's main reason for traveling into space in Dragon Ball Z is because he wants to face off against the incredibly powerful space tyrant Frieza. While he does want to use the Namekian Dragon Balls to revive his friends and stop Frieza's reign of terror, that's all secondary to his desire to test his strength against Frieza's. His desire to fight strong opponents has even led him to making a number of dangerous decisions that put the lives of his friends in jeopardy. He let Frieza power up to his full strength while on Namek so he could have a better fight, and inspired the Tournament of Power, which put the existence of several universes at risk. He puts very little thought into the consequences of his actions, and instead focuses only on what will make him happy in the short term. This behavior doesn't really make him a villain though, as characters like Toppo and Bergamo have suggested. Goku never really has any sinister intentions, and his pure-heartedness allowed him to survive Spike the Devilman's Devil Might Beam in Dragon Ball, which destroys anyone with evil in their heart. Goku's pretty much a big kid. Sure, Grandpa Gohan raised him for a time, but after the older man's passing, Goku was basically alone for most of his youth. This kind of paints Goku as a kind of country bumpkin from time to time. His solitary upbringing has a greater impact on the character than his general ignorance to the world. Goku never really had a chance to explore any potential interests or formulate much of an identity when he was young. That's why he latched on so heavily to martial arts training when he met Master Roshi, as it was the first structured thing he could use to define himself. Training and growing stronger became his entire life once he gained a better sense of the world around him. This isolated upbringing would also explain why Goku is a bit of a dolt. Goku's limited intelligence is frequently mocked over the course of Dragon Ball, and for good reason. In early Dragon Ball, his arithmetic is so limited that he can't even figure out how old he is, and later on in Dragon Ball Super, he can't defeat the evil god Zamasu because he forgot the magical seal he needed. His limited intelligence is not only a detriment to himself, but also those around him. He never had any kind of formal education, and only got crash courses in general education while training with Master Roshi, though. His solitary upbringing also explains his ignorance toward most social practices. Like how we find out in Dragon Ball Super that Goku doesn't know what kissing is, despite being married and having 2 children. Which actually raises a couple of ethical issues about he and Chi-Chi's relationship when you stop to think about it. But there's a subject for another video. Goku's isolated youth is a big part of a lot of his weakest elements, including the fact that he's a bad dad. It's a running joke in the Dragon Ball fandom that Goku is a terrible parent, and that's because he is. He routinely puts Gohan in unnecessary danger, like when he healed the super powerful Cell before Gohan fought against the android, or how he wasn't around for the birth and childhood of his youngest son, Goten, because he chose to train in the other world. Again, this problem with Goku's character stems from his upbringing. He never really had any kind of male role model to draw inspiration from when he became a parent. He was too young to learn how to be a caregiver from Grandpa Gohan before he passed, and Master Roshi isn't exactly someone you want to imitate most of the time. While he is irresponsible, he's a poor parent mostly because he doesn't know any better and doesn't have any idea of a father figure to work off of. All of these issues and shortcomings make Goku an incredibly flawed character that people should not aspire to be like. These problems are also what make Goku such a terrific and popular character, though. Goku might be an incredibly powerful alien warrior who lives in a world where fantasy and science fiction elements are commonplace, but these many flaws are extremely relatable. Most of Goku's problems stem from his upbringing and are so foundational to who he is, he can't really change them without heavily altering his personality. The unintentional harm he does to others while pursuing his goals are also something everyone has to experience with. We've all hurt a loved one's feelings or took a relationship for granted because we were too busy dealing with something more personal. By comparison, the flaws of other super popular characters are much harder to relate to. Most people can't place themselves in Batman's shoes when he pushes others away in pursuit of making Gotham safer to avenge his parents' passing. Likewise, few people can relate to Spider-Man's issues in juggling his fantastic life as a hero with his disappointing life as Peter Parker. Most people can more easily relate to Goku's character flaws, though, or at least how his weaknesses came about and manifest. Goku's far from perfect, and while he should be criticized for his bad actions and behavior, they also make him feel more relatable and like a more complete person. So while he is pretty selfish and a bad parent, these qualities actually make him a better and more endearing character. The one other major element of Goku's character that makes him such a beloved character is his relentless pursuit of strength and continuous self-improvement. Most people think that the various iterations of Dragon Ball are so popular because of their many climactic battles, and that Goku is so popular because he wins most of those battles. While this is at least partially true, there's more to it than that. While the fights in Dragon Ball are some of the best in anime, they only mean so much because of all the effort and passion Goku puts into preparing for them. Goku isn't one of the most well-known characters in fiction because he's really good at fighting. It's because he pours everything he has into martial arts. He lives almost entirely for growing stronger and testing the limits of his strength. When he battles Piccolo Jr. in the 23rd World Martial Arts Tournament, he isn't just fighting to keep the world safe. He's fighting to prove that he is the strongest person on Earth. Similarly, he's so eager to fight Jiren in the Tournament of Power because he hopes the challenge will push him to even greater heights. Every battle Goku fights is him trying to prove that he worked harder than his opponent, that he poured more of himself into his passion and is stronger for it. Of course, Goku sees the battles themselves as an opportunity for him to grow as well. Every battle in Dragon Ball is an opportunity for Goku to prove himself, and if he loses, he doesn't mind because it just means that he has more room to grow and improve. That's what makes Dragon Ball such an incredible series and Goku such an enduring character. His overwhelming commitment to his passion and unflinching desire to keep improving are still inspirational. While Goku does have his problems as a character, they mostly serve to make him more relatable to viewers. Even if he's not a traditional hero, Goku is still a fascinating character that inspires millions. While the Dragon Ball Super manga is still ongoing and the anime returning this July, Dragon Ball fans will have even more opportunities to appreciate this sometimes misunderstood Super Saiyan. What are your thoughts on Goku as a character, though? Do you have a different reading of him or another connection to the character? We'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions in the comments section down below. While you're there, please be sure to like this video and subscribe to Behind the Screen. We have loads of videos about some of the best shows, movies, and characters around already up on our channel. We also have plenty more to come in the future. If you want to make sure you catch all of our videos, be sure to hit the bell icon. That way you'll get a notification every time a new video goes live. We like pushing ourselves as hard as Goku does and publish 2 videos every single day. They're all great and we promise you're not going to want to miss a single one.